Two, let's get a view from a senior Reform politician, the First Lady of Reform, the MP for Runcorn and Helsby, Sarah Pochin. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jeremy. Well, it's a bit of a sobering morning this morning, isn't it, for us all?
It's sobering, yes. Maybe I have a different opinion. What's Reform's response? We have heard a tweet from Nigel Farage saying this election was a victory for sectarian voting and cheating. Matt Goodwin was a great candidate. Roll on the elections in May. It will be goodbye Starmer and goodbye to the Tory party. I won't lie to you, Sarah. Some people are saying that's not the right response. You know, he should just accept it. And I've said all morning, I'm sure he is. Democracy is democracy. But there are examples of sectarian voting and family voting in the constituency. Let's talk, though, about this party that won. They want to legalise heroin.
I know. Look, I was, as you know, a magistrate for 20 years. I've spent so many times looking and dealing with people whose lives have been utterly ruined by drugs. So, you know, that is one policy that literally beggars belief. It absolutely will ruin people's lives. I feel so overcome this morning that with a slight element of fear for what potentially can be happening to our country. And how ironic, Jeremy, that this candidate, this Green candidate, Hannah, a woman, has gone after the Muslim vote and a section of society which has no interest in the rights of women. And we've talked a lot this morning. I've listened to you talking about this issue of family voting. But what that is all about is not allowing women their opinion. It's not putting the safety of women first. Look how this, not all of them, but look how this section of society treat women in this country. Look how they cover them up with the burqa. You know, you name it. This section of society is not pro-women. And yet there we are. We have a Green female candidate who has gone after the Muslim vote unashamedly. Those videos going out in Urdu, I criticised that online, and then Zach Polanski thought he was really funny by them translating it into another dialect, Muslim dialect, and putting that out. I can't remember which dialect it was called, but absolutely slapping in the face of British values, British people, British traditions, and I feel genuinely concerned this morning about what's happening in this country, and not only that. You know, the people that vote Green are either students, generally middle-class students who basically they shipped in yesterday. It swarmed the constituency. These students don't know what they're talking about when it comes to running the country.
I think I need to give you a bit of a pep talk this morning, Pochin. I think I need to give you a bit of a pep talk. Now, let me just put it like this, right? Let's strip this down. Let's put the Greens to one side for a minute. This was a Labour heartland, a seat controlled by Labour for 100 years. They're finished. Keir Starmer is finished. Let's talk about the Tories. They got 2% of the vote and lost their deposit. The first time they've ever lost a deposit in any election in the history of the world. They could now be described as extinct. And although you say this worries me, the fear of mine is that when you say that and people go, oh, it's a nightmare, we're not going to vote. No. Actually, the Reform vote locally, and I'm telling you this as an MP, was exactly the same as the Reform vote nationally. This was one of those by-election results where a bunch of nutjobs genuinely used every tactic in the book, democracy's to democracy and fair play, she has achieved it. This won't be replicated at the general election. If I was anything to do with Reform this morning, I would be standing on the front foot saying, this is a sign of what could happen if you don't come out, you don't vote and you don't put your country first. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, listen, I was the last Reform by-election winner, and because it was so close for me, a very different dynamic in my seat. We didn't have the Muslim vote, we didn't have the Green Party. It was a straight run between Labour and Reform. And you're absolutely right. In these red wall seats, the Conservatives are utterly finished.
Yep.
They betrayed this red wall, and they'll never get their vote back. It was a run for me between, as I say, Labour and Reform. But Reform, you're right. I mean, I feel for Matt Goodwin. I feel so sorry for him because he put everything into that election. And again, as I say, so as someone who fought a by-election, I know how tired he'll be, how exhausted he'll be, how frustrated he'll be that.
But it's democracy, right? It's democracy.
But it's democracy. But you're right. On a national level, if this had been a general election, then Nigel Farage would be going into number 10.
Do you see on a national level the Greens now as a genuine threat to reform, or do you? I mean, I believe that the Labour Party will now lurch to the left to basically, you know, absolutely and categorically hoover up those... I mean, we had a guy at 6 o'clock. I mean, I never thought I'd see a Green supporter on talk, but there he was in all his glory. He was fantastic, and he said, they've got my vote at the moment. I think the Labour Party's answer to this will be to lurch to the left. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, Starmer's going to go, isn't he, on May the 7th?
Yep,
we know that. Yeah, May the 8th, that's right. And we will undoubtedly get a more left, PM to the left, whether that's Angela Rayner, or God help us if it's Ed Miliband, but whoever it's going to be, yes, they will now lean into the left. I think where the Muslim vote is strong, then yes, Greens will be a problem, unashamedly a problem. And like I say, head in hands for these people that are voting Green. There's no mention of trees anymore. You're absolutely
There's no mention of trees. It's Gaza. Women have a penis, and I'm sorry. I just don't think. Maybe I have a faith in the British people. I know it was a 47% turnout, and it was a high-profile election, and why wouldn't there be more? But I honestly believe that days like today, if you step back from the precipice of, oh my God, what does this say? It actually should say to people, this, sectarian voting, is relevant. And unless we all use our brains and work out the best way to deal with this, there will be a disaster looming. But I don't see it like that. I think, listen, Hannah Spencer won the election. Fair play to her. I will always believe in democracy. I believe it's what you learn from that going forward. And I do genuinely think that the British people will go, right, so you've mobilised a certain vote by doing certain things, so you're trying to be all things to all people. I do think that the Labour Party concentrate... I mean, every time I watch the Labour Party, they basically slag off reform. Every time I see the Tory Party, they slag off reform. The Greens managed to miss us. Somebody once told me, and I think this is a great bit of advice, right? The view from the cheap seats is a lot easier. And when you're in the seat, and you know this, mate, it's a whole different ball game. Welcome to Westminster, Hannah Spencer. I'm just being, I'm being honest.
No, yeah, I absolutely couldn't agree with you. Our political system has been fractured. What an incredibly historic time we're witnessing, if you like, in British politics. The Conservatives, and I've been saying this for a while, look, they didn't feature in Runcorn and Helsby. They haven't featured here. And to lose their deposit is quite staggering, even in, admittedly, a seat which they were never, ever going to do particularly well in. But losing a deposit is quite staggering.
700 votes. And also, I want to talk about, from a reform point of view, this is sort of generally my opinion. I'd love your take on it. There's been a lot of noise recently about other right-wing parties. Reform's taken a good number of years to get to where they are. Let's just read this out for people who wanted to know. Advance UK fielded a candidate, Nick Buckley, who used to be in Reform and made a big noise. He got less votes, ladies and gentlemen, than Sir Oinkalot, the monster raving loony party. Sarah Pochin, if last night's result proves one thing, it is surely that Reform is now the official opposition in the United Kingdom to the government, aren't they?
100%. And Reform is the only party that is representing what you and I call alarm clock Britain, the workers out there, the people that get up, go to work, pay their taxes, and just want common sense restored. And coming back to the Greens, yes, they won. Congratulations to Hannah, but that is not common sense politics, and that is not politics, a manifesto that you can run this great country on. You know, we can't legalise drugs, legalise prostitution.
Well, listen to this.
Open our borders.
Listen to this, Angela. Could somebody ask the bloody Greens how many families have been ruined by drugs? How many young people are taking drugs? How many people have died from drugs? Steve in Essex. I wonder if the Green Urdu video gave different policies to that which they were spouting on the other side of the constituency. Chris Hudson. This election result will serve as a wake-up call for the British indigenous population, and the government must tighten up the criteria for eligibility to vote. If you are not a British citizen, you can't speak the lingo, then you have no right to say who governs this country. Charles Kemp, I want you to hear these, Sarah. It's important. This by-election has become a farce, with the winning party getting through with a foreign-based campaign video and a heroin legislation ticket. Margaret's in Birmingham. Tell Sarah this election is a wake-up call and a red flag to all political parties if nut jobs are voted in. This is a party, she said, who want open borders. They want to legalise heroin, and they think a woman can have a penis. I think that's the point here. I think we all need to just go, whoa, this is one of those results. It's fine. You take it on the chin. It's democracy. It's where it goes from here. For example, Sarah, how long does Starmer have?
Starmer will be kept in place until, as you said, May the 8th. In effect, he'll go straight away. The local elections will wipe the floor. We will wipe the floor with Labour. But when you going back to the Muslim vote, we cannot underestimate this situation in this country. We need to address this situation in this country. We cannot have election material, whether it's videos or leaflets or whatever it is, going out in another language. If you cannot speak English, if you cannot, understand and integrate into this society, what right do you have to vote? And I know those are strong words, but I truly believe that. I find that chilling, spine chilling, when I see those videos by the Green Party, meant to be nice, gentle little tree huggers, and they've turned into
not a mention of a tree, not a mention of a river.
Very frightening party with a very frightening manifesto.
This is the latest headline news coming out. Starmer on the brink. We've just had this as hard left Greens smash Labour in by-election, with Reform pushing them into third. I'm interested as to whether you think Starmer will start attacking the Greens, because that guy this morning at 6 o'clock said, they've got my vote for now because they're not left-wing enough. That I absolutely... there's another piece of it. I'm not giving you advice, for God's sake. You're a legend. But I think in times like this, you keep doing what you do. You keep your mindset on what you believe in, and you keep saying the message. I think now is the time for a steady hand on the tiller.
I think you're right. Look, we ran a fantastic campaign. We got a huge portion of the votes, and that can't be dismissed. We're a very, very strong party now. And going back to your comments about the smaller parties like Advance, you know what? Nigel has spent years and years not changing his direction, not changing his core policies.
Very consistent.
And building up this party. The party of opposition, but yeah, this is a very unsettling morning. I think, when I just can't believe that people would vote for such a lunatic party.
Yeah, but we know why. And do you feel that after 15 minutes on the couch with Dr. Karl, do you feel galvanised to get on with your day, Sarah Pochin?
I'm not sure. I feel. You're absolutely right. We've got to carry on.
You're tired and emotional. Go back to that lovely flat and get one of those many bottles of wine you've got on the top and throw one down your neck. God bless you. We love having you on. Sarah Pochin there.